Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach from the ZAP podcast. I have always wanted to start a podcast, but I never knew where to start or where to even begin. And then I stumbled across the Anchor app. I love the Anchor app because it's completely free and it has all the editing and uploading capabilities that you need right from your phone. So it's super easy and super user friendly. If you've always wanted to start a podcast, go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, let's get on to the episode. All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I am here with my good friend Jason Wu. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking.
Of course, and thank you for taking some time to be on the podcast today.
Yes, sir. Of course, it's my pleasure, man.
Awesome. Jason's a really great guy. Him and I go way back. At this point, it's been, geez, probably like 10 years or something of being
High school.
friends.
Yeah,
High
probably
school, man.
sophomore year or something like that. I remember we met in like a math class or some shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was about sophomore year. So yeah, we
Yeah.
we go way back. Jason's a really good guy. He is currently down south a bit in the Atlanta, Georgia area,
Hot
kind of working.
Atlanta.
Holland.
Where my Southerners at?
I love it. I love it. But yeah, Jason's been out there since after school and everything, working in the entertainment industry, working with movies and production and such. But that's just kind of like a basic introduction of Jason. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, all that good stuff?
Sure. So right now I am working in Atlanta. I'm Atlanta-based Crippen Electric. What that means is basically I lift the heavy ass lights. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast? I'm sorry. I have a tendency to swear a lot.
No, you're good,
Um,
man. I just
okay,
say like
if anything, just blip it
whatever's
out.
comfortable.
But
Yeah.
if anything, yeah, I'm a Atlanta-based Crippen Electric. We lift the heavy ass lights that light up the actors, make the sets look good. Basically anything you see. In movies or TV, it's going to be artificially lit, even if it's like daylight. And there's people working behind the scenes like me who make sure that what you can see, is what you get. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's interesting that you said like everything you kind of see in like movies, TV shows, videos, whatever, it's all kind of like that artificial light. Like, so
Oh yeah.
lighting plays such a big part in it then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously there are exceptions. Like there are directors out there who love natural lighting, but you have to like it makes it harder on production because you have to like time it correctly. There's some directors who want to shoot at like let's say sunset. We call that like golden hour. It makes everything look like really good with a yellow glow and shit. Um and even with that, grip and electric, we would have to put like screens and silks in front of the sun so we don't blow out the actors with too much light, for example. So even if even if it is using some natural lighting, the grips are still using silks and flags to shape that light and sort of create the desired effect that the director wants. But if we're shooting in the studio,
Gotcha.
if you like the vast majority of like Marvel or like big production movies, we're shooting in a studio or on location where we bring out like these giant lamps that simulate the sun or the moon. You know.
Okay. Gotcha. And like to kind of understand how lighting works and like how to manipulate it in the proper ways, like if it is natural lighting or like artificially, like is that something that like in your role you're kind of the expert and like you know what to do, or is it like the director's like, hey, I want it to look this way, and then you have to go and do that?
Yeah, so best way I can describe it is the director's like the CEO, right? Like they might not be
Hmm.
an expert in every single department, but they know like they're the ones that the creative vision guides everyone else around. They obviously they might not know all the intricacies of how my department works, but if they say something, we try our best to make it happen, because that's
Okay.
that's their creative vision. And if we have a good relationship, obviously we try to make it happen as best we can. Now the actual experts in the lighting department, that would be the gaffer and the key grip. Now when I
Okay.
say grip and electric, technically they're two separate departments. They're sister departments, but they work together a lot, but they are technically separate.
Okay.
Now electric is more what I do. We deal with all the lamps, the lighting, anything electrical we deal with on set. We're powering up all the generators, powering up like the coffee at craft services, stuff like that,
Okay.
managing the lights. And grips, on the other hands, are the ones shaping the lights. They put the flags and the silks in front of lights, shaping the sun, and also just general handymen on set.
Hmm.
Now, the two leads of these two departments are called the gaffer and the key grip. The gaffer is the expert lighting technician. They are the ones that, hopefully that all electricians can trust to problem solve and make the director's vision work. Key grip is the same thing except for the grips. They're the chief handyman on set. They shape all the lights and shit.
Gotcha.
But yeah, those are the experts in our respective fields.
Okay, gotcha. And if my memory serves correctly, I think you've been in those departments for quite a while now. Is that correct?
I have, but I don't. I always feel uncomfortable just calling myself a gaffer. Like there are people out there
Hmm.
who have worked like years and years and years to become gaffers. I don't deserve that title yet. I'm just a humble cell electrician. You know,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha, gotcha.
But
So like,
I have worked on those like roles on small productions and stuff like that in college. But
gotcha. Okay. Now, like in these departments and with these roles, is that kind of like where you're niching in and where you see your future, or like do you want to expand into other departments or do other things with production?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I have done a lot of other film stuff in the past. Like, I did film all through college and
Hmm.
have been working in Atlanta for the last 4 years. So I've kind of like experienced a lot of what other departments have to offer, and grip and electric is definitely where I feel like I belong. I like it there. The people are great. It's always like the chill dudes with tattoos and vapes like chilling out at the grip truck. It's like it's a nice atmosphere, man. Like I like the people that work in that department, and we get to do like stuff that actually gets to be seen on the silver screen. Like when I watch a movie that I worked on, I'm like, yo, that lighting looks dope. I did that shit.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. That is
yeah,
really cool that you can kind of see the work that you put in,
absolutely.
um, for sure. And as Jason and I were talking to anyone listening, like we've known each other for a while. We met in high school and stuff. So obviously that means Jason's from Michigan originally.
Yep. Ann Arbor born, raised in Canton.
Okay, awesome. I actually don't even think I knew that you were born in Ann Arbor. I thought you were just always in
Yeah,
Canton.
the hospital there. I mean, it's not like I
Oh,
spent
okay,
most of my time in Ann Arbor.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, went to school and grew up in Michigan and stuff, and then like you said, you've been in Atlanta for the last 4 years.
hmm
What led you to Atlanta?
Tell you the truth, there wasn't much work in Michigan. Like I mean, you
Okay.
graduate film school in Michigan, Michigan State University. Proud alum. Well, maybe not proud alum, but I am an alum. I wish they would stop asking me for donations because I'm, still broke. But like honestly though, like yeah, I graduated from Michigan State, and the only film jobs that were available in Michigan at the time were a lot of small time commercials for like car companies, music videos, some independent films, but like the independent films, they didn't have a really high standard of professionalism. I remember I worked on a film right after college with some of my friends, and like it was not great. Let's just put it that way. Like
Okay.
they didn't pay us for like 8 months after production ended. It's just it's just not as high of a standard in Michigan because the film incentive has gone and all the bigger production companies have moved out of there already. So I moved down to Atlanta because that's where the action is. They're filming Walking Dead down here, Marvel, all types of stuff.
Okay. I actually didn't know that. Like the only thing that, and I mean, I could be way off on this, but I'm assuming like the TV show Atlanta,
Oh yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
Donald Glover's like in Atlanta,
yeah.
but I mean, I guess
I
like
actually
it could be filmed somewhere
I actually
really
know some people
else.
that worked on that. My
Oh,
buddies,
nice.
roommates, were office PAs on that.
Oh,
So they
sweet.
work in the
Okay.
office, like managing all the behind the scenes paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Cause yeah, like obviously like I thought like Atlanta was filmed there, but other than that, like I didn't really know that
Oh yeah.
it was kind of like the hub of like where happening. Like I didn't know Walking Dead, Marvel.
Well,
That's
Walking Dead
really
is
cool.
really what put it on the map. I mean, if you talk to
Okay.
Atlanta natives here, Atlanta, it really didn't start blowing up until like 15 years ago, probably.
Okay.
Entertainment industry just started popping up. Obviously, you have hip hop. The music
Hmm.
industry is huge down here.
Right.
We have a lot of TV shows being filmed here, and then with Marvel, a lot of the bigger production companies are moving in
Mm,
because we have such we have a lot of infrastructure built up, and it's usually cheaper to film here as opposed to like LA or New York. If you want to talk about like the film industry as a whole in the United States, obviously everyone talks about LA and New York,
right.
but LA is like more like the creative hub. You go there if you're like acting or if you want to write or direct. Also it's just expensive to live in, and there's fires everywhere.
Right.
Atlanta is like the cost of living is a little bit better, and you know it's where production happens because it is cheaper to
Okay.
film here, and we have all the infrastructure built up. It makes it really attractive for people looking to film like the bigger budget movies here. That's why we get so much work.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. And now like for you specifically, it seems like just from knowing you and being able to call you a friend throughout the years, it seems like you're more sold on like the production side of things. Like do you
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you ever have any like aspirations of going like on screen instead of being more behind the scenes, or do you want
On
to stick with
screen?
production? Yeah.
No, not really. It's not for me. I
Okay.
don't like being the center of attention. Also, like
Okay.
it's a whole separate issue entirely. But like it is kind of hard for Asians. I am an Asian man. It's
Yeah.
a bit harder for Asians to break into the film industry or any person of color, really. I mean, obviously things are changing. We're trying to like cast more people of color in the film industry, but I don't think I'm good looking enough to add my face into that race. Like
hmm
I'll let some of my other Asian brothers take the lead. I know some stunt people and like really talented actors of color out there, and I don't want to be competing with them. I'd rather do my thing in lighting and
Sure.
just do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally respectable, and I think that, yeah, it's you bring up a good point about kind of just like trying to just have maybe better representation or more vast representation in media,
Yes,
movies,
sir.
TV shows, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's something that's important.
Shout out to Stephen Young. Did you know Stephen Young is from Michigan? He's from Kalamazoo. You
I
know,
did not.
yeah. Glenn from The Walking Dead slash the Korean dude who's been appearing in all those movies lately. He is from Michigan, man. We can claim him.
Huh. That's interesting. Did not
Yeah,
know
man.
that. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that again, like anytime you hear something like that, it's a kind of like a cool story for us from being from Michigan and just just again that representation piece I think is super important, and that's why like uh what's the Marvel movie that came out recently last year?
Ooh,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi.
bro. Did
Yeah,
you watch that? I love
I
that
did.
movie, man.
It's a great movie.
Oh my god, the soundtrack was amazing on that.
Yes, it is really good
Oh my god,
soundtrack.
yeah, that was like one of my favorite movies of last year. And
Yeah,
it's so important to have like an Asian superhero. I mean that was like a Asian Black Panther moment, like
yeah,
all Asian cast, and it's a story that like meant a lot to us. And plus, I mean, it has the coolest fucking martial arts scenes of any Marvel movie. Like, I
yeah,
will fight anyone to the death about that. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
It was just a really great movie, and it was great representation, and just I mean even I don't want to butcher it because it's been a minute, but it were they did you recall the language that is spoken in the movie?
yeah, they spoke Mandarin. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought
So
it was Mandarin. Okay.
it's my mother language actually.
Yes.
So I grew up speaking that, and I understood like basically everything they were talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I mean, I just think it's like it's cool that like they included Mandarin in the movie because it's like it's like real, it's accurate. It
Yeah.
gives that representation piece.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think like kind of like you said, maybe we're making strides, but do you think the industry as a whole, like the entertainment industry, is making good strides in like that direction of being more representing?
Yeah. I think for the most part, obviously there's still going to be some outliers out there.
hmm
But I think for the most part, just because of how the culture is progressing and how people want more inclusivity in films and TV, that these production companies, I mean, they see unfortunately, it's all because of monetary reasons, but they do see the monetary reasons of trying to be more inclusive. Obviously, people are going to want to uh buy more into projects that are inclusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think we're moving in that direction. I do see a lot more production companies trying to make an effort to hire more people of color and casting more people of color. I mean, just take a look at the recent news about like Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings, Game of
hmm
Thrones, even Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like they were casting like people of color, and um, there was a lot of news about that, obviously. So
Right.
yeah, times are changing, man. Times are changing.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a very fair way to look at it, and I think it's like it's kind of tough, right? Because like you said, there is usually some sort of like monetary incentive for production companies to go towards that, but I think that if you take away the money component of it, like it's good, it's moving in the right direction, and I guess even if it's out of like selfish reasons, it's just still good to have
Yeah,
that,
exactly. Yeah.
for sure. So with like all that you've done, with your career so far, is there like I guess, like, is there goals that you have that you're like, "This is, like, I wanna achieve this," or, "I wanna work on this production," or, like, "This is the next step for me," or are you just kind of, like, just
Yeah.
going with the flow, figuring it out?
I do know right now, my goals for my career right now. I'm trying to move up the hierarchy a little bit. I'm trying to be a best boy electric. So what that means is, best boy electric is like the first assistant to the gaffer.
Okay.
They deal with all the organizational aspects of the department, like making sure all the equipment arrives on time, or putting in the equipment rental to the rental houses to get the equipment for
Mhm.
production. Just making sure we have everything, stuff like that. It's like the next step on the way to becoming gaffing. And I'm not sure I want to say my goal is gaffing because I'm not sure if I'm creative minded yet, but I'm just trying to move up one step at a time. And I do know that best boy is my next step, you know.
Okay. Gotcha, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's, like, just how can you take that next step, that next opportunity, and it sounds like you kinda have that mapped out and, like, who knows what's
Yeah.
after that, but
And
it sounds like you have a
I
good plan
mean,
for that.
I have longer term goals too. Like in terms of the film industry as a whole,
Mhm.
grip and electric, it's definitely a young man's game,
Okay.
because it's so physical. Like you're lifting heavy, like 100-pound
Oh, really?
sandbags and
Okay.
like heavy metal stands and lights every single day. So, you meet older grips and electrics, and their knees are beat up. They're complaining about
Mhm.
back pain all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm really trying to work so that I can hopefully have enough money later on to maybe take a step back. I can't be doing this forever. I know my body can't be doing this forever. And I being able to live a comfortable life is good enough for me. Obviously, I would love to work on some bigger, like interesting productions,
Mhm.
but I got to keep my mental health first. There's a lot of people in this industry that burn themselves out and just run their bodies to the limit, and I'm not trying to do that. I've kind of been around for a while. I see how miserable some people can be, and I'm not trying to do that. I would love to work on like action movies. That's like my biggest like dream is to work on like John Wick 4 or something like that.
Okay.
Um, and aren't they already shooting John Wick 4? Sorry, but yeah, it's yeah, like I love to work on action movies. Historical dramas have always been a big thing for me, and that will come one day, obviously. But like
Mhm.
my main goal is to just live a comfortable life doing what I love. I don't have aspirations to be someone famous or have some bullshit Hollywood power to lord over anyone. All that stuff is bullshit, man. It's just
Yeah.
about people and like living the best life you can.
Man, everything you said, there's a lot of good nuggets out of that you said, and I think
Thank
that
you.
yeah, of course, something that I wanna highlight is, like, you talked about just, like, your mental health and everything and how important it is, and I think that, you
Yeah.
know, with being in our 20s and stuff, being out of college, fresh out of college for a few years, whatever the case is, I think there's a lot of pressure to figure out everything, like, figure out what the next steps are, what the next job is, what the
Yeah,
career is,
absolutely, man.
and it's
And
it's a
it's not
lot.
easy. It's not easy at
No.
all. I mean, everyone has their own struggles, right? But like
Mhm.
it took me like, I'm 26 now. It took me a long time to figure out where I was in life. I mean, after college, I was literally bar. I was bar backing in a bar in Plymouth, man. Like for a year. I didn't move out to Atlanta until like a year after graduation. I was like depressed and shit. Like it was bad, man. I was like living with my parents, and like even when I moved to Atlanta, it's a culture shock. Like
Mhm.
Michigan is very different from Atlanta. Atlanta has the South has a completely different culture than the Midwest, and it was a huge culture shock for me. Not to mention, like my first job in Atlanta was just terrible.
Okay.
Like it was really draining on my mental health.
Mhm.
I was back then. I didn't know which department I wanted to work in. So my very first job in Atlanta was as an office PA.
Okay.
And I did mention that before. It's basically you're working behind the scenes for all the paperwork, all the you're dealing with the producers and stuff like that. You're basically working in the same office as the producers, the directors, the accountants, all that, like all the important people. It's very basically it's like a white collar job,
Okay.
except in the film industry.
Okay.
And it's usually a good way to move up to producing or directing and stuff like that, or just getting a lay of the land. But for me, I worked this Netflix show. You can still find it on Netflix. It's called After We Collided. It's like a teen drama based on a fanfic of a Twilight series. I don't fucking know. It's some
Okay.
bullshit. The whole thing's basically a softcore porno, man. But like, regardless, it was just the crew is fine. The crew is all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But the main issues I had were with the producers on that show and the
Okay.
way they just created such a toxic work environment, man. I remember like driving home every single day and just thinking about like, man, I could just swerve right into this fucking highway real quick and just end it all, man. Like it's hard, bro. Like I was going to
Yeah.
sleep like barely any sleep any night, every single night because like they're working us so hard, and like I'd be driving like tired, man. Like there are literally
Yeah.
times when I fall asleep right in the middle of traffic,
Mm.
and I'll have to like fucking slap myself awake, and people would be honking at me, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't live like this, man. And yeah, after I got off that job, there's a long period of time where I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and kind of wandered around aimlessly, like PAing on different things. But even that, that's a whole different thing too. Just being a PA on set. So it took me a while to find where I am, and I look around at people that are just graduating college and going right into the film industry, and I'm sometimes jealous of them. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people that graduate college in Georgia, they don't realize how lucky they are. Like they graduate and they find a thriving film industry right outside their doorstep. Like I had to move
Hmm.
from Michigan to Atlanta without many connections at all. Like I
Yeah.
basically didn't know anyone, and I had to really work myself up from scratch. And like I been through my struggles too. I thought about quitting the film industry on 3 separate occasions over the last 4 years. Like it
Really.
got, yeah, it's been that bad. But like this year especially has been really good for me, just because I kind of found my niche and like have been starting to build up my network with the electric and crypt departments in Atlanta.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And now, like, with everything that you've been through and just like the struggles and just like just tough experiences you've had, do you think that's just like part of it? It's kind of part of the industry, like it's a tough industry, or do you think it's just like part of being in your 20s and like it doesn't matter if you were doing
Mm,
something else that you would still potentially have like the same, struggles?
I mean, I will say it's a tough industry.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously, I still talk to a lot of non-industry friends. Like my sister is non-industry. She works in
Okay.
health, and I know like a lot of people in their 20s kind of go through the same thing. I mean, you're finding where you are in
Yeah.
life. You have this enormous pressure because you feel like you had it figured out in college. Like I
Hmm.
still remember at the end of college when I was a senior, I felt like I had my whole life planned out. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And then once I graduated, stuff, I wasn't special anymore. I was just like another cog in the machine. And it's like
Hmm.
I think there was definitely some mental struggle with dealing with that, um, as all people in their 20s do. With that
Hmm.
said, I mean, the film industry is definitely tougher. I will say, like, because of the nature of the film industry, you're basically working for yourself. You're going from gig to gig. You don't know when your next paycheck is coming out, and it's all a networking game. Really, it's like you get hired on based on whether obviously if you do a good job or not. But like, what's going to
Right.
set you apart from the next person trying to do that job really well is whether they like you. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of is like a networking game, man. It kind of sucks, but like, there's a lot of nepotism in the film industry, and that does definitely play a role. I mean, like, think about like all the anxiety and like mental thoughts you have about whether people like you at your job, and then
Right.
think about how those thoughts will affect you on whether they'll hire you again. So obviously it's like a
Hmm.
huge like it's definitely a struggle to be in your 20s and then also in the film industry. Like there's
Yeah.
like some intersectionality with that.
Totally. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like that was kind of my assumptions of the industry from someone that has never been in it, or honestly, I don't think I have any desire to be in it. I think that's
Hey,
just like the
that's great.
perception I've had.
That's great. There's
Right.
nothing wrong
But
with that, man.
right, but I could totally attest that like in your 20s it's a hard time. It's a hard
Yeah.
transition, and I think that like, like you said, just like the mental struggles that come with just being in your 20s. And like, I mean, if you think about it, you're what, a student pretty much your whole life, and then you're just
Yeah.
dropped from that, and it's like, "All right, figure it out," and
Shit, I'm still learning, man. I'm like a fake
yeah,
adult. I still have my parents doing my fucking taxes, bro. Like I need to learn that shit. They didn't teach that in college, man. They should.
no, yeah, that's another interesting thing, like, a lot of, like, life skills, like, we don't necessarily learn it in school or anything, as much as they would be helpful once you have, like, enter that next chapter of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if you don't mind me asking, with, like, being in your 20s and, just going through things, figuring things out, maybe stuff mental health, like, has there been anything that, like, you've found has been helpful to kinda navigate and get to the place that you're at? You're still, like, learning and figuring things out, but, like, to get from, you know, that miserable position that it was, like, that first job to now, like, were there things that you've done or incorporated into your life that have helped you?
Yeah. Um I guess I can only speak from like a maybe a industry standpoint, but
Hmm.
just basically keeping yourself grounded. You know, I personally, my personal philosophy is
Saying like how you've kind of what's helped you get to from where you were to where you're at is maybe more like specific and keeping
right.
grounded.
Yeah. So like me personally, I just like my personal philosophy is always to have check in with their friends. You know, like people that aren't just working in the industry. Kind of keep yourself grounded because like I feel like just working in the industry, you kind of lose yourself with how
Mhm.
many like our lifestyle is like really unique. Like it really is a lifestyle. I mean, you're working like weird ass hours, like like things that like other people don't really have to deal with. Like we're working 60 hours a
Mhm.
week, and dealing with like a very unique way of like working. Like it's very much like a freelancer. You're
Yeah.
not working at a 9 to 5 at a company. And I just always like to try to keep myself grounded by having non-industry friends, checking with my loved ones, just seeing what's going on with people. I feel like um especially in your 20s when you're leaving college, um, keeping up with people is very important
Yeah.
because you feel really lonely in your 20s. I feel like it's hard to make friends out of college, and at least starting out, when you move to a new place, and being able to have a support system you can count on that's not tied to your job or how you do or how you perform, I think is really important. Because there have been times when like I have failed, like there are times when I've fallen, and like having a support system that isn't tied to my job is very important to me. And I think that will help you regardless of what you do, really, film industry or not. Is just keeping in touch with the ones that have your back, and I think that's really important in your 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like the support system that we have is so important, and I think that it's just this is maybe this whole podcast as a reminder to anyone listening, like reach out to people that you care about, reach out to your friends, and I mean, like I'll be the first one
People you
to
haven't seen
own.
from high school in like 8 years.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I'll be the first one to own that. While I considered Jason a friend of mine for a long time, we haven't communicated as much as like I wish we did, and that's I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's a two-way thing,
that
but I think it's on me,
that's
like,
that's adult life, though. I
yeah,
mean, also
exactly,
I've also I'll be honest, I've been like completely off social media for like 2 years too.
for sure,
I was going through it. Like I think I went through a period of time where I was like, um, if they care about me, they'll reach out.
sure.
And I was going through that for 2 years. Didn't post anything on social media. Uh only had a very small group of friends, and I think only
Hmm.
recently have I started realizing that like it's okay. People are probably going through the same thing I am going through. I can reach out too. So um,
Exactly,
being a little bit more active on social media and stuff like that for
yeah,
myself personally.
for sure. Yeah, I
But
think that's
trying not to get sucked into the Instagram rabbit hole.
right,
Like
right. Yeah,
because social media
that's
definitely has
important.
its problems, and that's a different podcast too.
Yes, yes, it does, and yeah, you're very right. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, like that's the same thing for me. Like, you get busy, you get caught up in life, and I think for me, like, the last couple of years, with the pandemic and everything, that's really kind of put perspective into
Ooh.
my life of
Yeah.
like, reach out to those people, like reconnect, and that's I honestly feel like I'm talking to you, and we've chatted a bit, leading up to this podcast, and it feels like nothing's changed, man. Like
Yeah.
different. We've
Yeah.
grown from
Exactly. I
who we
mean,
used to be, but like,
distance
still
and time doesn't really need to change anything. You can
exactly,
acknowledge it and just move forward with your life, man. Like, I mean,
exactly,
it's not worth losing a friendship over not talking for a
exactly,
year or so. I mean, it's just because people are busy, man. People are busy.
exactly,
That's just the universal truth to everything.
exactly, 100%. And it's funny because right now I'm recording this in kind of like the family office that we have, and like it's like space, but I have this corner with just like stuff of mine. Like I have like some awards or plaques or
All right.
textbooks or whatever,
Nice
and
little achievement closet sort of thing.
yeah, kinda yeah,
Yeah.
or just, like, mementos and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's funny because one of the things that I'm looking at it right now in this corner, I have, it's like, kind of like a coffee mug type thing, but, it actually was from you. I don't know if you remember this, but,
Wait. Really?
high school graduation, yeah,
Did I get you a coffee? Wait. Send me a picture. Maybe I do
I'll s
remember it.
I'll shoot you a picture of it, but it was, high school graduation, had a grad party, Jason came, and, got me like this little graduation gift that was like kind of like this mug that I'm explaining, coffee mug. It's red, which was the color of our high school, and there's like a 14 on it
Man,
for,
jeez.
class of 14. And
Man, did I
you
really
know,
give that to you?
yeah,
Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you still have it. That's
yeah.
crazy.
No,
Yeah, send me a
it's
picture, man. That's
I
funny.
will, I will. I've kept it all these years, and it's like
Holy
something
shit.
that I'm gonna
Oh, thanks,
keep
man.
like forever, just because it's like, that was especially back then, like I would say that Jason was one of my really close friends. Like we might have not hung out all the time, but we talked a lot. We had a lot of classes together, and I just really valued that, and that's something
Yeah.
that I've
We hung
kept to
out.
this day.
We hung out outside of school too. I remember. I do
Yeah,
remember that graduation party though. I remember.
yeah.
Did we like play cricket or something like that out in your backyard? I do
We
remember
might. I
that
know we
part.
played basketball.
Yeah,
We
something
might
like
have
that.
played
Yeah, yeah.
cricket too. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was a lot of
Like
fun.
we're definitely more than just like school friends. Like someone you see in
Exactly.
class and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because another like grad party story. So like I said, Jason came over for that, and it was at my house. So
Yeah.
we just had people over to the house, and
Your parents were
I
really nice. I remember that.
so that's kind of where the story is coming from.
Oh, okay,
So
cool, cool, cool.
like when apparently I don't even know if I was there for the conversation, but apparently you like complimented like you said to my parents like the really nice cabinets or something in the house.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would do.
And like that's just like Jason's just like such a polite dude, and like just like
Yeah.
so
That's like
like
sounds like something I do.
so, and especially like I would say now like you're more of like a chilled laid back guy, whereas like
Yeah.
back in high
Oh
school
yeah.
you weren't like uptight, but I
No,
think you're just more
I
like
was.
formal, like
No,
you're
I
just like
definitely was, man. I definitely had to like mellow out a few years after college or
okay
during college and stuff like that. I know exactly what you're talking about though.
for
Like I
sure,
think back in high school, I was definitely dealing with a lot more anger issues slash just trying to find where I belonged and stuff like that. Also,
right.
I think I was just trying to mature too quickly, you know.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, I mean I think
But
you're one
yeah,
of those
no,
people that was like super mature at a young age and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's I kind of cringe a little bit when I look back on
sure.
it, man.
No, that's fair. But yeah, you made this comment about the cabinets, and like even to this day, like if I'm just like, oh, I just recorded a podcast with Jason, like, oh, Jason, he's the one that likes our cabinets.
Yo, you guys still have those cabinets still?
I actually no, we don't because we
Oh
got new
man,
cabinets, so
they were
they
good
are
cabinets.
different.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they're good cabinets.
next time you're in Michigan, you can come over and check out the new cabinet.
Hell yeah, man, it'd be my pleasure.
But no, like it's yeah, I feel like we kind of got sidetracked a little bit, but the point being is just that connect with those people in your life, even if like you think it's like, oh, it's been a few years or whatever, because like Jason said, it's not like it's a bad thing, or it's not like you have to like have resentment or anger towards it or something. It's like
Yeah,
life's just busy, we're all busy, and like
it's just part of life, and especially because
yeah.
like if you think about like nowadays in our present times with technology,
Hmm.
we're making so many more connections than like our parents ever
Yeah.
did. You know, we're
Oh
meeting so
yeah.
many more people, and it's hard trying to balance between all these people that wants like to spend time with you or just to have
Hmm.
some part of you of your life. And it's definitely hard finding that balance. But it happens to everyone. So
Yeah.
it's don't I won't ever take it personal. I hope no one else ever takes it personal either. If you hear this recording and you feel like reaching out, I mean, shit, I'm just a phone call away.
Yeah, exactly. That I would encourage that. Like if you listen to this and maybe you knew Jason before, or maybe you used to talk to me or something, like reach out and connect. Or even if you've never talked to either of us, just say what's up and we'll connect that way. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and connection's super important, and that kind of is a good segue point to something else. Of course, the podcast is about passions, and we've talked a lot about your passion in production, but
Mhm.
it seems like maybe you have another budding passion of streaming that relates to connecting with people. Is that something that you're trying to start up?
No, that's just something I
No,
do in my free time. That's like a
that's just a fun
hobby.
thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Twitch streaming thing is just something I've been doing with some friends I've been hanging out with. We've been playing like just like some video games and stuff like that. Though it's been like a good way to connect because like all the people that are involved in that community are like filmmakers in Atlanta.
Okay.
So it's been kind of cool. If I don't know if you're like plugging like socials later, but I can give
Yeah.
you like the social links for all that shit. But
Oh, perfect.
yeah, it's like I'd say it's more like a hobby. I'm not trying to turn it into like a monetary gain or whatever.
Hmm.
But I'm kind of testing it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. I like
gaming has
that.
always been something I've been interested in, and
Yeah.
love Twitch, so it's been kind of cool.
Yeah. Another funny
Yeah,
throwback
I mean,
story.
I'm just a man of many passions. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
one of many, I guess.
No, I love that. I was like, geez, this was maybe like 6 months ago or something. I fired up my old Xbox.
Mm,
And I have a save
the
file from
360.
Gears of War that we played together.
Oh shit! Yo, actually, I remember that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now that you mentioned it, I do remember the Gears of
Yeah.
War.
I
Oh my
saw
god,
that file and I was like, no way. Like I
dude.
remember like we were just like sitting up in my room playing that
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
few
Oh, I
hours.
do remember that. Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude, that's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Which
Yeah.
Gears of War was? Was that Gears of War 3? I still remember the God,
Ye-
the chainsaw
yeah, it was
bayonets of
Gears
that
3.
shit. Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah, that was a good game.
It was. I played through it and I was like, man, like this was great. And then that made me think back, like, yeah, we gotta get together and play the game or something.
Hell yeah, dude. Maybe they have like
Awesome.
a online or something like that. Maybe we can find a PC version or some shit.
Yeah, I know it is like it's because it's Xbox. So I
Oh,
think you can play like
I have
on
Xbox.
Game Pass, right?
Yeah, 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 I have Game Pass. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Let's do
Okay.
something. I'd be down for
Well,
that.
there we go. There we
Maybe we
go.
can hop on my Twitch stream and we'll play Gears of War or something.
There we go. I love it. Awesome, man. Well, Jason, it's been really great just having you on here and just I mean, just hearing a bit about your story and being able to share that and your passions with everyone listening. But I mean, above all, man, like it's just been nice to catch up with you too
Yeah,
and to do it through
absolutely,
this
man.
platform is really cool.
Yes, absolutely. Hit me up when this podcast is done. I definitely want to take a listen to it.
Yeah, I definitely will. And is there any like you kind of mentioned like do you have socials you want to plug, websites, online portfolio
Yeah,
for your work or anything?
go help. So this is the person that I mainly Twitch stream with. But go
Okay.
follow. Uh, is there a chat function in this? No, it's a
There is
podcast. Of
not.
course not. You can follow Sguyan, spelled SGUY 3N.
Okay.
Let me see if he has. Yeah, just Sguyan on Twitch. He's the main guy Twitch stream with. He's my really good friend. We do a lot of Twitch streams together. And then you can also follow me on if you're interested in talking about like film stuff or just reaching out to me personally. You can reach out to me on my Instagram at Wulong spelled WULONGG underscore TEA on Instagram, and that'll be the best way to reach me as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. And I will I'll get those from you and put them in like the description of this episode. So if you didn't catch Jason verbally saying them, then just go to the description and find them that way. And check out the Twitch stream, support some good people, watch some good entertainment with that, and then reach
yeah.
out to Jason if you have any questions, if anything from this podcast was really interesting, if you want to get into the production industry or anything, or if you just want to say what's up or reconnect or something, reach out to him. He's a great guy, and I would definitely encourage you to do that. But Jason, as we're wrapping up, any last like thoughts, messages, words that you want to leave to the listeners?
Nothing, man. Just thank you for doing this. Oh, I will also plug my new TV show coming out on September 24th. If you have Bounce TV, a show I worked on back in May is finally premiering. Really excited about it. It's called Finding Happy on Bounce. So
Finding happy.
yeah, Bounce TV, September
Okay.
24th is coming out, and your boy worked on that. So yeah.
TV, is that like a streaming platform?
Oh, I think so. I don't know. I actually haven't looked it up yet. They sent me my paycheck. That's all I'm really worried about. But here,
Okay.
let's see. I'm pretty sure it's a streaming service.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we'll go check that out. Do you have any like? Can you give like a quick little teaser of what it's about or what the plot is?
Yeah, yeah. So it's basically about it is Atlanta based. So it's about this woman in Atlanta trying to making her way through the entertainment industry. So there's a little bit of connect with that. She's basically working on a radio show. So actually used to work on the radio station back in
Yeah.
high school. So it's
Yep.
kind of like that, but in Atlanta.
Okay.
It's a comedy. It's a short form. It should be pretty nice. But yeah, give it a watch. I'm really proud of that one. I worked 45 days on that. It's a really long show. Probably the longest show I've done as an electrician.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, yeah, check it out. You said September
24th. Yes,
24th.
24th of September is coming out. I think we're having a watch party in like 2 weeks. But yeah,
Okay.
should be good.
Sweet. Well, definitely check it out. And when you watch it and see some like pretty wild lighting or something, just know
Think of
that
me.
was Jason.
Just think of me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for coming on and for talking a bit about your life, your journey, and
Absolutely.
all your passions. And I have no doubt you're going to do some really good things with whatever you pursue, man. And I'm happy to be able to call you a friend. And I know we'll be talking soon.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, my pleasure doing this.
Awesome, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
See ya.